just done it.
Going for a take.
Go.
Oh, sorry. Can we do that one more time?
No, go.
I didn't hear action.
Go. Action.
Is that action?
Action.
Okay, welcome back to Going For A Take. My name's Matt.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Ollie, and today's guest is Saleem Miah. Hello, Saleem. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No problem. Now, Saleem is a up-and-coming director. You've recently wrapped on your first short film, Spice for Life, haven't you? And you've sort of faced a lot of challenges growing up, which we're going to chat about, growing up in foster care, that kind of thing. You've also received the RTS bursary and worked with them on a lot. So we're going to cover all of that. But first of all, we'll just zoom in a little bit and start with a question that we ask every guest.
Okay.
Which is, do you have a film that made you when you were growing up?
Yeah, do you know, has anyone seen Lion?
Like the Dev Patel one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no, I
Have
still
you
need
seen
to...
it?
Oh, okay, cool.
So good.
Fucking brilliant, yes.
Yeah, amazing film. I can't remember how old I was when I saw it, but I remember just watching it and after that thinking like, yeah, I definitely want to like go into this industry and I want to...
What was it about the film that made you...
So much, but I think the main thing was I quite relate to the story in it.
Okay.
And I'd never seen anything like that growing up before, and it just moved me in a way that I can't explain. And I remember like the last scene, and I just had this thought like I need to do something like this. Like I want to make things like that.
It just clicked in your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So was it kind of like the representation within it?
No, I mean,
Roughly, what's it about? I know it's got Nicole Kidman and Dev Patel,
yeah.
right?
yeah, great cast. Well, it's based on a true story, and it's about this young Indian boy who basically he goes out with his brother on one night, and then basically gets lost and gets on a train and doesn't know how to get out, and then I think he's on it for days, and then ends up stranded in another part of India, and then basically he ends up getting adopted by Nicole Kidman's character,
An Australian couple, yeah.
White Australian
couple.
Cool.
Yeah, and then when he's about 25, decides to try and find his mum and his brother and sister. So it's a
And
great
he does
story.
it using Google Maps.
He does, yeah,
insane.
and it's true. It's true as
mad.
well.
Uses Google Maps to find
Wow.
it, like the satellite images.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Spoiler, by the way, because that's
I mean,
like
yeah,
right.
but-
I mean,
Yeah,
if you've not
right.
seen
Although
it,
it is
by
a big,
now-
it is a big
being
part
funny,
of it.
it came out in 2016.
That is true.
It's like,
Oh wait, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, I slept on
Never
it.
mind.
That's my bad.
So
It got like a lot of awards, didn't it? As well, like BAFTA and I'm sure it got
yeah, nominated for
Oscar.
6 Oscars. It won 59 awards in total.
yeah, incredible film.
Dev Patel though is just insane.
Yeah, such an inspiration. I'm a big
Wow.
fan of his.
Like,
Did you see Monkey Man as well?
we did,
Yeah,
Yeah, we
we
did
did
an
an
that's
episode
episode of that
incredible.
with Zach, right?
Yeah, you did.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
it's such a sick film.
Yeah,
That's
loved
excellent. So was it watching that and then seeing a story that I don't know had like a mirror to like similarities to your own? Is that what it was that kind of clicked?
Yeah, definitely. I think because like growing up, I've always felt quite different, just because, like obviously growing up in foster care and stuff, and a lot of the families I was with were white, and so obviously growing up, I was always kind of the odd one out because I'd be like the Asian kid at like someone's birthday party and always feel. Yeah, and I just also the thing about that experience is you feel disconnected from your own culture in a way, because you're not brought up in it, and yeah, I just remember seeing that film and just feeling like, oh, I'm not the only one. Like there's other people that have similar experiences, and it just almost validated it a little bit. But also just the fact that it's brilliantly written, directed, and performed, and it's just a good story. Yeah.
Prime example. You are a prime example of why like representation matters.
Definitely,
Like,
yeah,
and,
it does
like,
matter. It does.
Yeah, for that to trigger your entire life trajectory as well of like
Yeah.
going into this industry. On
Yeah,
that,
it's pretty cool.
why did you choose directing over like acting is the obvious one. I feel like people
Yeah.
watch a film and go, yeah, I'm going to be an actor. But why did you choose directing over anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I think I love directing, but writing as well is a big thing for me. That's probably my main thing, I would say.
Writing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Directing it sort of just comes with it because you want to sort of realize what you've written. But I think because it kind of links into representation a little bit. So I remember like I've had friends and stuff who are actors, I think, and Asian friends, and they just don't get. I feel like they just don't get that many opportunities, and I kind of felt like, because what I've read up as well, like interviews with people like Mindy Kaling and Aziz Ansari and people like that, they've really had to carve their own careers, because I feel like I felt like I want to be the one that's like leading the project creatively, because otherwise I feel like the kind of stories that I want to see won't get made.
Yeah.
And so I
if you
feel-
want it done right, you got to do it yourself.
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but also like people, you know what I mean? Like I just feel like someone has to be behind pushing those kinds of stories, and
Yeah, absolutely.
that's why I chose to go that route, because also, you know, the industry is run by producers and commissioners and directors, and they're the ones that get the projects greenlit and made. And we need more people like, you know, like me, I suppose, in those positions to champion those kinds of stories, because otherwise it won't get made.
So, talking about carving your path, then obviously you've had an incredible journey so far. Tell me a bit about that journey.
I don't know where to start. Where would you?
Let's start from the moment you realized you want to be a director,
Mm-hmm.
and then that journey of how, you know, your directorial debut in Spice for Life,
Yeah.
working on The Devil's Hour, like that sort of journey
Yeah.
to where you are now.
So I was in college. I was doing my A levels, and I was doing media, psychology, and sociology, like good mix. And obviously, really wanted to get into film and TV. And so I've always been quite proactive. I'm always that kind of person. Yeah, if I want to do something, I always try and figure out a way to do it. I'll like read up on how other people have done it, you know, those kinds of things. And I somehow came across the BFI, who do like, they used to, when I was in college, they do a lot of like programs for young filmmakers and courses and things like that. So while I was in college, I came across one that Home Cinema ran.
Yeah.
And I applied for that and got that. And so that was really cool, because we made a short film. The way it was run is that we got an opportunity to basically be across every little role. And so that was cool. I directed like one scene in that film, and had like a screening at home and things like that. So that was the first thing I ever did.
What's it called?
It's called Happy Hour. It's on YouTube. So you can
Nice.
find it if you want to watch
Should we
it.
check it out? Or are you like,
Yeah, I mean, it's decent.
Cool,
It's well
okay.
made. It's fairly. I mean, it's a bit of a silly story. It's funny, but yeah, it's good. If you want to watch it, you can.
yeah, it was kind of like your first taste of it all.
Yeah, and then the NFTS did like a follow up. It was more of a national thing, because the home one was regional. You have to be based in the northwest to do it, like around Manchester. And I'd written a script for that and sent it. I applied for the NFTS one, and
The National Film and Television
Yeah.
School.
yeah, great place to learn. And yeah, I was quite lucky. They picked my idea to be made and funded it and brought
So
a team.
Across, like, is it done in year groups, or just how does it work?
16, I think it's 16 to 21.
Right. Okay.
You can, if you're in between that age and not at uni, you can get onto that
Right.
program.
So is it like a group of you go into the
Yeah,
NFTS
but-
and you all have ideas and they picked yours?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Trying to stay humble, but yeah.
Dude,
No.
blow your own trumpet. Like, genuinely,
they-
if that's what happened, that's what happened.
I mean, yeah, I mean a little bit. I sent a treatment and the first few pages of the script, and they chose it. So
Amazing. Okay.
Which
And
was
was which project was that?
it's never been released or anything. We never put it into festivals and stuff, because it was it's called Affinity, and Rahul was actually in it. It was the first thing he ever
No
did.
way.
Yeah,
Oh, was it? Mad.
we
Wow.
cast
Wait,
him.
who was?
Rahul, who's been on this podcast.
Oh.
Yeah,
Small world.
I know.
Small world.
That's so crazy.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Up after this. That's
Isn't it,
mad.
man?
Yeah. So he'll probably remember me, because we obviously worked together on that, and I think it was the first thing he ever did, which is
I
cool.
want to watch this now.
Oh no.
Yeah, get it into the festivals,
No,
man.
I wasn't happy with it, to be honest. I mean, I was 17 when I wrote it, but also the way that the program was run, we had to rush to make it. So as soon as we'd wrapped, we had 2 days to edit and screen, and I wasn't involved in the edit either. I wasn't allowed to be.
Really?
Wait, but you did you direct it as well as
No, I
write
just
it? You
wrote
wrote
it, and
Okay.
then sort of had to hand it over.
Would you remake it now?
Yeah, I mean, if I made it now, it'd be very different.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see the differences. Like,
Well,
if I
you'll
could
see
the
Spice for
original-
Life and that, and I think I don't know if I was. Thing is, I kind of didn't like that I wasn't across like the edit and stuff, and also the fact we had to rush. I understand why, because part of the program was it has to be screened at home on that day, but the 2-day edit and then not being involved in it wasn't great.
What was
I
like the
think.
elevator pitch for Infinity? Did you say?
What do you mean? What do you
In
mean?
terms
Like
of
the
like
story?
what's like a brief like synopsis about it.
It's kind of similar to what I've just made a little bit, but characters are different. So it's about basically the characters that Rahul played. Basically runs away from. He lives with his dad and his little sister, and them two decide to run away because they're like not being treated very well. And basically, the story is about how the brother and sister get separated and then try to find each other again, kind of thing.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And how similar is that to Spice for Life?
I mean, obviously, the foster care thing is a running theme in my films or
Yeah.
whatever I write or make. Similar, just like thematically, I think. But that's just because you kind of write what you know, and there's just this running theme of characters as well. I've realised in what I make is that a lot of the time it's about characters that because I love character-driven films. And a lot of it is about like a transformation of a character, I think. And both in Affinity and Spice for Life, the main character sort of goes over a journey of letting people in and learning to be more vulnerable and
Yeah.
connect with people. I think that's a big theme in the things I do. So they're similar in that sense.
Yeah.
That's cool because I've been teaching acting class recently.
Oh, really?
And going back over all my old books and stuff. And one of the things we looked at was archetypes. So it's like this young thing. I don't know if you guys have clocked into this in the past.
Yeah.
So there's like 12 of them, and it's like this vague idea. They're a bit like stereotypes, but a bit more useful because they're like, hey, so you're, I don't know, the hero, and this is like the main thing that you want or whatever. There's a lot of similarities in a lot of stories called like The Hero's Journey, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Joseph Campbell, I think, came up with it, maybe.
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, they start off with like, it's often like the orphan or the everyman or whatever they want to call it in that sort of archetype, going through this change and going out and then venturing into the unknown and then changing into the hero. So like you see it in like the most famous stories like Harry Potter, Luke
I love Harry
Skywalker,
Potter, yeah.
like that character who has to, you had a quote in one of your speeches, I think, the greater the obstacles, the better the story.
Yes.
And I feel like, that's badass. But that, I guess, is that something that you're finding in a lot of the stories you're writing as well?
Yeah.
Like that hero's journey.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hero's journey is a big thing. I mean, I've read a lot on story and screenwriting and things like that. I've always been interested in it. And so, yeah, like, I don't do that consciously. I don't think, I'm going to structure this story in the hero's journey. I don't do that. But it's a universal experience. And almost every story is about a journey that someone goes on, I think. And yeah, definitely, I think, because I mean, one of the key sort of principles of storytelling is that the character changes at the end. It's a huge thing. So I do tend to sort of think, who do I want the characters to be at the end of the film, and how can I take them as far away from that as possible at the beginning? And that's how I like to think of when I write. That's how I like to structure things.
And do you think that your writing has almost given you an identity in a way? Because sometimes I feel like with creativity, finding your identity through creativity is often very, very important.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think, like growing up as well, I think, like being in environments where I was the odd one out and things like that, I always used to, like, really. I think what was great about it was that I was forced to almost really think about who I am, who do I want to be, what do I want out of my life, because I was facing so many obstacles and it was really difficult. But having a sense of purpose and direction and knowing what I want, why I want it, was like really helpful for sure. Yeah.
What would you say is your overall aim with telling these stories? Do you want people to feel like, they're not alone, or do you want to raise awareness for certain issues that you know, people in similar positions that you have been in, raise awareness that you know, this is happening and things might need to change, or is it all of the above, or what?
All of the above, definitely.
All of the above.
But
Okay.
I think, I mean, it sounds a bit cliche because everyone says it, but you know, the thing of people feeling heard and seen and understood, and I think that's a huge thing for me, because you know, I think probably why we're all in this industry is because we love stories and we want to tell them. We want people to experience them and change the way that people think or feel. And I think it's great if you've got an issue that you want to write about or tell a story about. That's great. But at the end of the day, I think it is just about a good story that makes people feel things. I think that at the end of the day, that's the bottom line for why. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Why you want to tell stories? Is it the same as me, or?
I think it's a way of expressing how you feel. It's almost, you could say in a way, like therapy.
Yeah.
It's being able to feel and think ideas without having to suffer the consequences of those ideas or feelings.
Yeah.
Ollie? Oh, he's
He's thinking.
swearing.
Dude,
Deep in thought there.
I'm just running away from who I am. No.
I'm just escaping my past.
No, I think very similarly to you, Saleem. Like I just love telling stories, and I just tell them in a different way to you, I guess.
Yeah.
Although I am interested in directing at some point in the future. So
I don't see what I mean. I think if you look at the industry now as well, like a lot of the talent in the industry are doing more than one thing. Like
Yeah,
you see it all the
definitely.
time now.
well, you have to survive.
I mean, yeah,
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's good to have loads of strings to your bow, but I think, I mean, like you just said, the main thing is the stories, and I don't think, to me, whether I'm writing it, directing it, producing it, I don't really care. Like I just want to be a part of it, and I think it's good to like I said, have a diverse skill set, and
Definitely.
yeah.
I was there's one of my favorite books. It's called Overstory.
I've not read that.
It's really like genuinely
What's that
so
about?
sick.
I've never heard of this.
Have you read it?
Oh, you
Yeah,
let me
I
borrow
think I
it.
bought it. You right?
No, you let me borrow yours.
Did I?
and It was so good.
What's
It's
it
like-
about?
Oh, do you want to explain it, man?
It's hard without wanting to give
The
because
entire
there's a
thing away.
gorgeous twist.
Is
like,
it fiction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, so there's like a bunch of short stories, different characters, and it's looking at how all of these paths across like the whole world kind of have a way of like always being connected, even when it's like invisible.
Well, that sounds really cool.
Bit like how a tree has branches which like connect across the whole of like this network we know.
Who's the
actually.
writer of that?
Richard Powers.
I've heard of it.
Yeah,
Someone's
yeah.
told me about it before.
Dude,
I
it's
just never read
genuinely
it.
like
It's quite. Is it quite surreal though? Because isn't it like focus on the trees a lot?
yeah. So you kind
That's
of
a huge
see
part of the
like
story.
see almost like the not like the insignificance of people, but like the trees are there for like however many hundreds of years or whatever, and we just get like they just get a slice of life about like watching these you know, these just beings like come in and go, and then blink of an eye they're gone again.
Wow.
But there's a quote within it, or there's an idea behind it, which is that a story can always have more of an impact than facts do. Like, so you see
Yeah.
on the news, and we're constantly bombarded by
Yeah.
facts and figures about
All the time.
you know, awful things, so many people dying, like wars going on.
Yeah.
If I was to tell, for me anyway, I don't know about you guys, like if I was to tell you, I gave you a name and I gave you this young girl's like family history and the outfit she was wearing on the day that something happened, say, you know, a bomb or something, you know, in like war zones. And like, you know, she was holding a teddy bear or something at the same time.
Yeah.
That to me, at least for me, is way more impactful
Yes.
than if I said 200 people died this day.
Yeah. I mean,
I think you need both.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more with that. I think, you know, a statistic, I mean, I think what you're trying to say there is a story has that human element, and that's what makes you care.
It's personal.
Yeah, I mean, and a great example is the success of Mr. Bates versus the Post Office,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
ITV
yeah.
drama. I mean, that was, I think, because it was actually an adaptation of a news article, if I'm correct,
Yeah.
that was released about 10 years prior. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, and look at the impact that show had as a TV show, as
Yeah.
fiction.
It's real.
Exactly.
It's based on a true story.
But you're bothered because of the characters and you empathise with them. and you really get to understand their experiences and how difficult it was for them.
Yeah.
You read it in an article, I mean, you can still be moved by it, but there's something about the form of TV and film that makes you care more. And actually, I mean, I think that's a perfect example of what you just said of the human element, the story is what makes people care.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
definitely the personal touch in it. And you've already said that sort of, you know, your own experiences are injected into your work a lot. So after this quick little break that we're going to take, we're going to chat more about Spice for Life and about your experience on that set being your debut directorial job and what's next and everything like that. And also we'll chat about the RTS. But let's take 5. Right, so Spice for Life.
Yes.
Starring friend of the pod Adam Hussein and Kirsty Lee Porter.
Yes.
Yeah. As Sully and I didn't catch Helen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it follows Sully, who is in foster care.
Yes.
Yeah. He moves into Helen's house, and in order to try and win him over, she cooks him a curry.
Bakes a curry.
Which
That takes a bit weird.
maybe isn't the most sensitive thing she could have done in the world. But Sully is facing this like whole internal battle, isn't he? Of, nobody else in his life he's been able to trust, and why is this woman any different? Why should she be any different? And he's got all of these barriers up.
You've read the crowdfund.
Oh, I did. Totally. Yeah, that's the other thing. It was crowdfunded.
It was
entirely by not complete strangers.
No,
but...
mainly like mentors in the industry, friends and family, a few strangers, but like obviously mainly it was people that I knew. Which was really nice of them.
Nice. Yeah, brilliant.
How did that even come about? Because obviously when you crowdfund something, you have an idea behind why. Why was that a story you wanted to tell?
Well, obviously I'm at uni and doing filmmaking, and you have to do a final year project as part of the degree anyway. So I knew I had to make a film, and I knew I wanted to write and direct it. This is a bit of a weird one. Like in the industry, I feel like you have to, especially if you're behind the camera, you really have to you have to really position yourself in a certain way, I feel like, in order for producers and commissioners and things to understand the kind of work that you want to make and why. So I felt with the idea developing it, I was like, what's a story that only I can tell? Like that was a question I asked myself. And I kind of just went from there, because at the end of the day, like I need to showcase to industry and potential collaborators like the kind of stuff I want to make. So it was the question of how can I make something entirely unique to me and my voice kind of thing. So that's kind of where I started.
So has this actually happened to you?
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh,
you turned up and like
that's all you're bothered about asking me.
No, I'm genuinely curious. Like, if it's how personal is it?
I mean, it's very personal, but it's not true. So the story is fiction, but in terms, like obviously Sully's slightly based on me when I was younger, a little bit, and Helen is sort of an amalgamation of lots of different people I've met.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you land on sort of Adam and Kirsty as the cast? Did you know them prior, or was there a casting process, or what?
So with Adam, so my DOP Ahmad, who's also RTS scholar, he's so talented as well. We'd met 3 years ago at one of the RTS dinners, and we'd always said we wanted to work on something. So I came to him with this idea after I'd written like the first draft of the script, and immediately he knows Adam. I'm not sure how they know each other. I don't know if they went to school together or something, but they were friends. And so with Adam, Ahmad basically just messaged him and said, "I'm making this film. Would you wanna be a part of it?" And Adam agreed. So that's how we got Adam. And then with Kirsty, I did do a lot of auditions for Helen. I approached agents and things and did some self-tape requests. And then I wasn't entirely like set on anyone either after watching any of the tapes. And then I was on Instagram Reels, and like a scene from Hollyoaks just came up, and it was Kirsty.
Yeah.
And I remember just watching it and thinking she'd be so good as Helen. And so like I went on Google, found her agent, Alex, who I actually know as well, and your agent. So I know
No
Alex, and yeah, I just sent the script, the treatment, crowdfund, because I'd already raised the money by this point, I think.
Nice.
And yeah, and then Kirsty read it and just agreed straight away, which was cool.
The
wow.
reel
Amazing.
of Kirsty, was that her acting or was that?
Yeah, in
Okay.
Hollyoaks, it was a scene from Hollyoaks. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like a Kieran Culkin moment where Jesse Eisenberg just sees him and goes, "Yeah,
no,
I'll cast him."
no.
Nice.
And are you going to be involved in the editing this time?
I am. Yeah.
Hey.
We've already started, but it's very early days. I mean, it's quite difficult as well to coordinate when me and my editor are both free at the same time because we're both quite busy. But I'm hoping we'll have a rough cut by next week.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then
Should
that'll be
fun.
going off to like festivals and stuff.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. I have a few, like, because I'm really lucky to have a lot of mentors and friends in the industry. Like, I'm hoping to take it to them and see if they see any more potential in it as well, but we'll see.
Sick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I also really wanted to chat to you about your Heartswood film stuff. Like, so you worked on The Devil's Hour there as well, right?
Yeah.
So in what sort of... that's the one with Peter Capaldi?
Yeah. Lovely man, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd love to meet him. He seems so sad. Is he
He's
just
so nice.
exactly how you can imagine him?
Oh, he's so, like, because... I mean, as you guys probably know, you do come across some people that, like, in the industry
Divas.
that aren't very,
Yeah.
that aren't very nice and quite entitled. And
Like Matt Khan.
Oh, no,
wait, what?
made
What's
the
that?
I was about to
heard about him.
Oh, Ollie,
Bring
are
it to
you
the
one of them?
picture.
Oh.
He's one of them.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what? He was one of the first people to say hello to me when I came to set.
Oh, lovely.
He, like, I was obviously really nervous. It was my first time on a TV set as well. And yeah, he came up to me and like said hello, asked my name, shook my hand, and yeah. And then he introduced me to all the other cast as well, and so it was really cool.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
And what sort of stuff were you doing on the set?
Well, I was a production runner pretty much. So yeah, I was basically just helping the AD
For
team.
the entire shoot? or
No,
just-
because I was at uni as well, so
right, okay.
it was only for like a month during my Easter break.
What did you learn from that? Like, if you could take one lesson away from that, what would it be?
Well, I guess it was really cool to just see how a set runs, how all the different departments work, and yeah, and it was just cool to see how like almost a machine, like, you know, how it runs, because it's a big budget production. It's Amazon, so it's a bit different to shoot in a low budget short film. I'll tell you that.
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah, but it was cool. It was really, it was fun. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about sets. They're quite weird places, aren't they? But
They can be quite daunting.
Intense.
Yeah,
First
very
get on there,
daunting.
yeah.
yeah, very
Especially
daunting.
when you're new. It's
Yeah.
like, and you don't know what everybody's job is just yet. And
Yeah.
it can be very daunting.
Yeah, I mean, like being thrown into it as well, because I mean, the AD team have a certain way of speaking as well. Like there's little code words. They have like a way of speaking, like code words and things.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I did not have a clue what anyone was saying to me.
What's the
Like on
code
the-
word for going to the toilet again?
Oh, I don't know.
601?
10
Is it
1.
10 1?
Yeah.
10-1, that was it. I only
Matt's
found
10
that
1.
out.
And then 10.
Again. Jeez.
I was like, why do they keep saying 10-1 about me? What does 10 Oh, man.
Now you know.
Don't be lactose intolerant on a set. That's what I was saying.
Don't drink milk on a set.
But
Yeah. Sorry, now I'm thinking about my 10-1s.
With the
Well, it was
RTS,
cool.
how did you first become involved with the RTS, and like what doors have they opened for you in terms of?
a lot. And in fact, the reason I got the Heartswood opportunity was because through the RTS, my mentors are Sue and Debbie Virtue, who run Heartswood Films.
Okay.
So yeah, how in terms of how I got involved, so I'd done Affinity, and again, me being proactive, I'm like, okay, I want to do this. How can I get in? And obviously, I'm working class, and I didn't know anyone in the industry and things like that. And so I came across the bursary scheme, RTS bursary scheme, and applied for it.
Just online or Instagram or
Yeah,
something?
it was like, well, it was quite, I mean, you had to do a really long written application. You had to do your personal statement for uni. I sent in the script for Affinity as well for that. As like proof of work kind of thing. And then that year, Sue and Debbie's mum, Beryl Virtue, who was a legendary TV producer, set up Heartswood Films and was the exec on Sherlock. she'd passed away that year, and Sue and Debbie decided to set up a scholarship to commemorate her career. And so that was the first year the RTS did this specific scholarship called the Beryl Virtue Scholarship, which meant that with it you get mentored by Sue and Debbie. So I was very lucky to get chosen for that. I had to do an interview as well. And so, yeah, that was kind of my foot in with the RTS, which was really cool, yeah.
Are you still working with them now? Or
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so I'm part of the scheme. So they're always doing events and things, and there's a big dinner that they do in London every year, which is really cool because there's like industry titans there like every year. In fact, I've met Cameron twice because Cameron always goes from Watley Road.
Nice. It's Cameron Roach.
Yeah.
For anyone listening, the exec
Who's
producer.
also chair of Northwest. So
Yes,
chair
he
of
is, yeah.
Northwest. But I remember like the first dinner I went to, I was sat next to Charlotte Moore. I don't know if you know who that is.
Mm-mm.
She's the chief content officer at the BBC. So she's like, she basically decides.
Hi, good to meet you.
Heavy hitter.
Well, she's the reason that Watley Road is a
met
thing
Charlotte.
because she's
Okay,
the one that decided to recommission it. Obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
What was that last bit? Sorry, I missed you.
Watley Road, like I think it was her decision to
Cool.
recommission
I
it.
see. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. So that I remember like really daunting, 18 years old, sat next to Charlotte Moore, which is like crazy. But again, she's a really lovely woman. But just yeah, like being in the room with people like that, that's what the RTS is great at doing. The schemes, I think it's had hundreds of people on it, all from working class backgrounds, and they're really trying to bridge that, that barrier that people face trying to get in. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
But what they're great at is making introductions between talent and
Yeah.
people in the industry, which is great.
And
Is it people like within like all different roles? Is it like behind camera, in front of camera, all the different elements of the crew?
Mainly behind.
Mm-hmm.
Any role though, like behind the camera,
Okay.
they support people.
And if anyone was wanting to look into it, listening or watching this,
Yeah.
where would they go to, apply for this year or,
Yeah.
or next or whatever?
Actually, applications are open at the moment. I think they close in July. Might be wrong, but around there. So yeah, you just go on the website and apply. It's you have to be just about to start uni or having just finished your first year.
Okay.
And they used to, when I applied, you had to do like a film or TV specific degree, but I think you can study anything now and just be interested in
Oh, great.
working in
Okay.
TV.
Cool.
So
Very
if you've got a story to tell,
Little plug there for the
if
RTS.
you've got a story to tell, apply.
yeah, and talking of a story to tell, I was watching your RTS speech, man.
Oh.
Incredible. There was
I was
a
getting embarrassed about
there
that.
was a there's a quote in it which I listened to and I was like, oh, that's saucy. It was good. It was your life experience, good, bad, and ugly. Craft the unique way you see the world, and therefore your creative voice. And I was just like, oh man, that guy knows how to talk. It was good. It was really good.
Wow, yeah. That was really cool. I mean, that was actually at the 10-year anniversary for the scheme.
Yeah.
It was at Fremantle offices in London. Yeah, and I was quite happy when they asked me to do a speech. It was just talking about how it's helped and how the scheme's helping other people. But yeah, I mean, that quote, I mean, everything I said in that I really stand by and mean, and yeah, I'm glad you liked it. But I think it's true. Like, definitely, as a creative, you want to. It almost gives adverse experiences like a purpose. And I've read I know you guys read a lot, so you might have read Man's Search for Meaning by
Bro, I knew you were about to
yeah.
say it.
Victor E.
It's like one of my
Frankl.
go-to. It got me through
You got it?
Waterloo Road because that shoot was rough.
Was it?
It was just hard. It was a lot
Yeah.
of personal stuff in the stories we were telling.
Yeah.
And it's right there. Carla DOP
Amazing
is.
book.
It's
Can you
somewhere
find it?
amongst
It's
all
somewhere in
those.
there. I don't know.
Is it Victor E. Frankl?
Yeah, that's the one.
Wow.
Yeah, incredible book. And I mean, you've read it, so you'll know. But like, one of the main things is that like almost adverse experiences or trauma, the way you live with it is give it another purpose. Give it sort of look at it from a different perspective, but in a way that is conducive to what you want to do with your life. And I
You
think
have to kind of like transmute it, or just
Yeah.
like, either you sit with it and it stays there, or you change it into something else, or allow it to
Yeah.
like release, like let go of it.
yeah, 100%.
There's a quote which he has, which is like, "What is to give light must endure burning." And
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
kind of how it feels sometimes, where it's like,
Yeah.
this can hurt a little bit right
Mm.
now, but just think about how much light you're going to emit and help the actual world
100%.
once you're able to move forward into it.
Yeah, I love that. I just think, I mean, it leans into being a creative as well and wanting to tell stories. Like, just give those experiences a reason. And like, you know, I look back on the way I've grown up and things I've experienced, and it's given me a reason to tell stories. Like,
Yeah.
Spice for Life wouldn't be a thing if you know, if I didn't experience what I did. And it just yeah, just positioning things like traumatic experiences in that kind of way, it really helps you live. And as you said, like, emitting that light and stuff and just inspiring other people, because at the end of the day, like, everyone's life is a story. And the hero's journey thing is a big thing as well. Because if your life just, like, for example, I feel like my life inherently shows like the importance of resilience and belief in yourself and all those kinds of things. And that's why I want to do what I want to do. And I'm sure it's the same for you guys as well. But yeah, I think that quote, that's kind of where that comes from.
Yeah, and I mean, the hero's journey, I know we've talked about it a lot, but I think that is important, because the hero is the same person at the start and the end. The only difference is the experience they go through in between.
Yeah, 100%.
What does your hero's journey look like? Where do you want to be?
That's a great question.
Oh.
Nice. I like that. That was slick.
It was. Was that planned or
No, just
spontaneous?
That's why he
question?
was silent for the 5 minutes. He was like,
Thinking.
so just
Typed it up.
cogs whirring.
Do you know what? I think I really believe in the importance of purpose. I think that's a huge thing, because, you know, life's really difficult and everyone has their own struggles, and I think what gets you through it is knowing why you're here, what you want to do with your limited time on the planet. Not to get too philosophical, but it's true. And I think for me, what does that look like? I really just want to be an example of someone who has, like, had some kind of impact on the world. Like, I think at the end of the day, that's what everyone wants. That's why we're doing what we're doing. And I think for me, to showcase to other kids that have grown up in care, and to show them that you can be ambitious, and if you want to do something, you can do it. Because, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, stats and things like that, and the expectations people have on kids who have that experience is very low. And I've always felt like I wanted to prove them wrong, and that drives a lot of what I do and why I do what I do. And I think for me, the hero's journey is overcoming that experience and showing people that you know, you can live a life that's great in many ways. And I just hope that, like, when people hear about my life, I hope it inspires them to overcome the things they're struggling with, and to be ambitious as well, and like go for what they want to do.
What a beautiful answer.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, we've talked about the future. Right now, where you're at compared to where you were at before. If you could look back and give that younger person advice you now know now, what would it be?
I love that question. It's clear. I feel like everyone says this, but, like, you know, when people are like, I don't know, because again, like, that's such a good question. I like the idea of it, but I also think that where I am now is because of where I was then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, when people say, "Oh, if you could give advice to your younger self," I'm always like, "Well, they won't be where they are if they."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think, you know, you have those moments when you're like not sure if it's gonna work.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're gonna do it. Just that thing of, like, having full confidence in yourself.
Trust in yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that because you always have moments where you don't, and I think it's good to be reminded, like, trust yourself, you're doing the right thing. Yeah.
Cool. One final question.
Okay.
What is next?
Oh.
Do you have a project in the works? Do you know what you?
Well, we mentioned it a little bit, but Spice for Life, the short film,
Yeah, so
that's
comes out
soon, probably in the next few months. I don't know what the strategy is yet with, like, festivals and things, but it will be screened as part of, like, the MMU degree show and things like that. And then I'm interning at Key Street at the moment in development,
Brilliant.
which is cool. So I don't know where things are going to go with them, but I've really loved doing that. Like, I've got to read a lot of the scripts, which is really cool, but I'm not allowed to say much. I signed an NDA, and I'm like,
This is the
so
moment.
scared
Let's get
of
the
saying
scoop.
the but yeah, it was really cool. I got to read Runaway, which is their new like Netflix
the
thriller.
Harlan Cobb.
Yeah,
Cool,
Harlan
amazing.
Coben one, so cool, and I got to be on the set for that as well last week, which was really cool.
Directed by Isha. Is
I
it?
think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I mean one of the blocks anyway.
Yes.
Yeah,
They've split it
definitely,
into
yeah.
two. I think it's 2 blocks. But yeah, so I don't know where things are gonna go with them, but I'm excited to see. But
That's exciting.
yeah,
man.
and then I think Adam, good friend of yours, we're meeting tomorrow actually, and I think we're thinking of sort of developing our next short, which is cool.
Great.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
I'm
Nice.
excited to see what
That
you
would
do.
be cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Really
yeah,
cool.
very early stages, but
Okay.
No, great.
Yeah.
Thank
Are
you
you allowed
for
to tell
coming.
us any ideas around that, or you wanted to keep it stum?
no, yeah, no, I'm thinking of
No. Carry on.
well, like being at Key Street. Key Street are like amazing at thrillers. Like they're so good at that. They've actually got The Stolen Girl that's coming out soon on Disney, which is really cool. Can't wait to see that. So I'm thinking of doing like a thriller thing, but I really want to, obviously short, but like I really want to focus on like a relationship between 2 brothers. So Adam hopefully will play one of the brothers. So
Nice.
yeah, but it's cool.
Sick.
Got a first draft, but it's pretty crap at the moment. So to keep writing.
At least you've got the draft. At least
Yeah,
it's
true.
there.
First
That's
draft
a
is
sight.
that's lit. Just
That's
on
the
the pen to
hardest
paper.
one,
Let's
yeah.
get something done.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Dude, it's been
Thanks for
really nice
having
to
me.
meet you.
Pleasure.
Really nice.
Such a
Thank
good
you for
chat.
having me.
Thank you.
I didn't expect it to get so philosophical.
No.
And deep
yeah.
and heavy.
Don't you just love podcasts like that though?
Oh yeah, a good philosophical podcast. Rick Rubin,
Mate, yeah.
so good.
While you're on like a run or something, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, it's a good place to wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Follow on Spotify.
Oh yeah, like, comment, subscribe.